one issue that always surprises and maddens people is when you tell them that David was actually of the tribe of Ephraim and not of Judah. People are upset by this news and this truth because they have always heard and learned that David was of Judah and that Messiah was born in Bethlehem, which is in Judah. The truth is that David was an Ephrathite, and you can find this in 1 Samuel, for example, 17:12. Now David was the son of an Ephrathite named Jesse, who was from Bethlehem in Judah. Now please strike that, because we know that Messiah was born in Galilee, and that Galilee belongs to Israel. Ephraim is actually another name for Israel, because Jacob put Ephraim before all of his sons, including Joseph. That is how great Ephraim was going to be. So Bethlehem, there is a Bethlehem in Judah, but there is also a Bethlehem in Galilee. Bethlehem in Galilee, which is near Nazareth, or part of Nazareth. This is why the Messiah is called the Nazarene. Messiah is of Israel. David was of Israel. Ephraim is Israel, literally. Oh dear, now I've got this thing coming up again. I'm sorry about that. Every once in a while it pops up. So we've got Bethlehem and Galilee. Now let's take a look at how far Bethlehem and Galilee is from Jerusalem. It is 146 kilometers. Do not be fooled. The reason why we're taught that David was of Judah and David is of the Lion of the tribe of Judah is so that this story is to segue with the Messiah being of Judah. Now, when the counterfeit Messiah is revealed by counterfeit Israel, which is going to be very soon, I do not know when, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, still, in relation to the number of years we've been on this earth, 50 years would be a short time. I do not know when the man of sin is going to appear, but the counterfeit Israelites who claim that they are of Judah are going to pronounce him as their Messiah, the Lion of the tribe of Judah. You see how this all hangs together, all of these lies. So we have the fact that God refers to David as his firstborn son. Why does God refer to David as his firstborn in Psalm 89:27? I have found my servant David. With my holy oil have I anointed him. I shall also make him my firstborn, the highest kings of the earth. What does God say through the prophet Jeremiah in Jeremiah 31:9? He says, they will come with weeping, they will pray as I bring them back. I will lead them beside streams of water in a level path where they will not stumble, because I am Israel's father, and Ephraim is my firstborn son. You cannot deny this, and yet so many people kick and scream when you even show them the scriptures. They say that can't be true. Why? Because they've been trained up to believe lies. And when people who believe and love lies hear the truth, they get very caustic, they go ballistic, and they get very violent because they hate the truth. I also wanted to show that the number of David is 10,000. David has a number 10,000, and so does Ephraim. This is how I realized by making these connections that David was of Ephraim, even though it was quite obvious from 1 Samuel 17:12 that David was born of Jesse, that Ephratite, but it's just very disconcerting when you see these words. David was born of an Ephratite named Jesse, who was from Bethlehem in Judah. You see, Bethlehem was not in Judah. Jesse was from Bethlehem in Galilee, because Jesse was an Israelite. I can't stress this enough. So here we have First Samuel 18:7. As they danced, they sang, Saul has slain his thousands, and David his tens of thousands. Or, the Living Translation, David his 10,000s. English Standard Version, David his 10,000s. King James Bible, David his 10,000s. Now there's another verse in Samuel, 1 Samuel 29:5 that says the same thing. Saul, it's just confirming what has already been said. Saul slew his thousands and David his 10,000s. You see? Now let's take a look at Deuteronomy 33:17. It's talking about Ephraim. In majesty he is like a firstborn bull. His horns are the horns of a wild ox. With them will he gore the nations, even those at the ends of the earth. Such are the 10,000s of Ephraim. Such are the thousands of Manasseh. Ephraim has a number, 10,000, correlating with the number of David, which is 10,000. And Manasseh has a number of thousands, 1,000. So that's all I wanted to say. I just want you to know that David, King David, was an Ephratite, and our Messiah was born into the tribe of Ephraim in Galilee, which is in Galilee, Bethlehem, Galilee. Now I just remembered I wanted to show another verse. This is in Isaiah 9, New International Version. Nevertheless, there will be no more gloom for those who are in distress. In the past, he humbled the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, but in the future he will honor Galilee of the nations. By the way of the sea, beyond the Jordan, the people walking in darkness have seen a great light. What is the great light? The great light was their Messiah who came to Galilee. On those living in the land of damp darkness, a light has dawned. You have enlarged the nation and increased their joy. They rejoice before you as people rejoice at the harvest, as warriors rejoice when dividing the plunder. But this was what my concentration was on, Galilee. Thank you.